see. In this video, we're going to look at Ezekiel chapter 40, which gives us the information you see in this model. We're going to discuss the significance of the key to the door to the gate to the house or temple complex. Rise, measure the temple and the altar, and worship therein. So we are measuring the temple, and here we are measuring the temple gates. Okay, the gates. Isn't that exciting to see the 3D model of the temple? In this case, the 3D model of the gates. What we had to do there is we had to cut off the roof. We had to remove one of the walls so you could look inside and see what's going on in the gates. Now, Ezekiel gives us more information about the gates than anything else in the temple and in the temple complex. So you can see here, we've set up our gate. We have some ancient-looking doors. And all right, so very excited, guys, to share with you on the gates. Here we've set these up, and there's some things that you must understand as we go back and look at the ancient principle. It's not really ancient. It's just a principle that doesn't really make itself manifest in a modern context. But if we really look at the scriptures and we really look at everything from the Garden of Eden to New Jerusalem, you'll see that the principles of what I'm about to show you carry throughout. So first off, the gates would be an entryway, and the gates would have a door, obviously. All right, and then on the inside of the gates, this is actually the inside of the gate, but this is the outside. But what would you have on the inside to open the gate? You would have a key. So here's our key. All right, so you have a gate, you have a gate house or a gate building, you have a door, and what opens the door is the key. Okay, so the key is what Christ is talking about to the church of Philadelphia. He has the key of David. Now, what does the key do? Well, the key opens a door. All right, when it opens a door, what is the door? Well, the door is to a gate. Okay, and the gate goes from one place to another. Okay, Christ said, I'll give you the keys of the kingdom, and whatsoever you shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. So a gate represents a dimensional realm of one place, okay, the earth, and another place, heaven. Okay, in the Ezekiel temple, New Jerusalem, this is the same principle, so that whatever is outside the city, whatever is outside the gate, okay, is one area of sanctity, okay, the world, the things of the earth that Christ said. I'll give you keys to the kingdom so that what you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven. Okay, so the keys open the door, and the door opens and closes between the spiritual realms, okay? And so that's what happens to John. He hears the voice of a trumpet. It says, come up hither. He saw a door open in heaven. A door to what? Door to the gate, okay? And then he saw the throne. So that is very important principles that we understand. We understand the key to the house of David opens the door. The door is to a gate. And what's inside the gate is a throne. Okay, now this is a concept. That's why we're doing props. This is a concept that is not as clear to us in our understanding. But in the ancients, whenever there was a gate and the people came to the city, the elders of the city, the rulers, leaders, even sometimes the king, would have a gate of the entryway, and inside it a seat or a throne. You can see in our 3D animation, you can see that there are chairs there. Well, the reason for that is to show you that that's what those areas are. They are for chairs. Now, Ezekiel doesn't put chairs there, but we can see clearly when we look at Christ's parables that what happens is in the gates are seats. There are thrones, okay? And they are thrones of the 12 apostles that judge the 12 tribes of the children of Israel, okay? So just like New Jerusalem has 12 gates of the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. The foundation, okay, has the names of the 12 apostles, okay? So the apostles all right, they judge the tribes on thrones in the gates. Okay, so you have the door to the outside of the city. Inside the gate, or gatehouse, if you were, would be their thrones. So this is very important for us to understand, because these are the promises that Christ made to the apostles in many of the parables. And so we're taking those parables and we're showing you the functionality, the procedural order of the Ezekiel temple, because Ezekiel gives us more information on the gates than anything else, more than the temple, more than anything else, because we never had the information from the first temple. And they are a major feature because they give us that transition of the importance of the gates to New Jerusalem. We explained to you New Jerusalem, 12 gates, okay, or gate houses, all right. And Ezekiel gives us this information on the gates, all right, and very, very important, very significant feature. Now, Christ said, wide is the gate that leads to destruction, that leads to perdition, really, like the son of perdition, that leads to the Antichrist. Straight is the gate, narrow is the way. Okay, well, if you take any type of population and you look at globally, statistically, how many Christians on the face of the earth, you could see something in the range of 2.5, I don't know, maybe 3 billion people. Okay, well, the gate, all right, is not much bigger than this. Basically, it's bigger than this, but it's not much bigger than this. This basically represents one side of the door. Okay, the door folds. All right, and then there would be another side. So basically, the length of the gate is about, I can't really fit it in this shot, but about 20 feet. So think about it. Wide is a gate that leads to destruction. Narrow is the way. How are you going to fit 3 billion people in a gate that's 20 feet wide? Something has to give, right? Well, Christ is talking about physical structures in the Ezekiel temple throughout the parables. That's what we're going to show you over and over in this series, okay? That what he is talking about literal things. He has said, he promised to the apostles, you will sit on 12 thrones judging the 12 tribes of children of Israel. We showed you in the intro there are 12 chairs and 12 spaces, rooms, chambers, and 2 of the gates, because one gate isn't functioning. The east gate is closed in the outer court, and the only gate that is functioning of people coming in and out of the nations is the north gate and south gate. Each gate has 6 rooms. So you get 6 apostles in one gate sitting on 6 thrones. You get 6 apostles sitting on the other gate, sitting on 6 thrones, giving us a total of the 12 apostles judging the 12 tribes of children of Israel in the millennium. So he told them, I will give you, okay, the keys to the kingdom. Okay, you are Petros. Upon this Petra, rock, will I build my ecclesia. So Christ is the Petros. Christ is the cornerstone. Okay, and there is a cornerstone in the gate. Okay, just like there's a cornerstone in the temple, there's a cornerstone in the gate. All right, so he is talking about the gate there. All right, because upon that foundational level is the gate where the apostles sit. They judge the tribes. He gives them the key to the door to the gate. Inside the gate is the chair. Okay, so clearly this imagery is so important for you to understand. Clearly this is what he is talking about. This is clearly what's going to happen with New Jerusalem. The same principles that we are showing you of the key, the thrones, the place of those sitting, judging the 12 tribes, okay, is a principle that's gone back to Eden, okay? There was an east gate in Eden, okay, that the cherubim had guarded. All right, so that is the principles we want to show you as we continue in the series on the temple. One of the most important things is the gates. Now, I just wanted to show you guys the resources on LelandJones.com. You can see we've updated the website to reflect the new series on the 3D model. So the first thing you see here, obviously, when you go to leelandjones.com, is you'll see that the photograph has changed from the tent into our 3D model. And the series that we're on in the resources, all right, what you do is you highlight video courses and then course 5, Millennium. And when we do that, okay, it's going to bring us to the course on the Millennium, and in it will be the present series. Okay, the temple in 3D with parables. Now, what's happening is it's going to take me a while to do long videos. So what I'm going to do is do some of the content in blog posts. So I'm going to cover the rest of the content on the gates in a blog post because it's just a lot of information. It's going to take a lot of bandwidth for videos, but I want to get the information out. So it'll be in a blog post about the parables of Christ that we talked about earlier. Anyway, it's taking a little bit to load, but below the showcase or playlist, which will be here, below that you'll see 3 documents. These are PDF files that you can click on, and it says download gates. So I've already downloaded it, but this is where you're going to get some of the documents and things we're going to talk about throughout the course of the series. So I encourage you to go here and download these. Now here's our gates file, and this is page number 1. And mostly what you see here are the sketches that we did prior to having the opportunity of doing the 3D model. Now when we talk about the gates, they are in yellow in this sketch. So we're going to have east, north, and south in the outer court, and then we're going to have east, north, and south gates in the inner court. So as we explained earlier, Yahweh, His glory, enters the east gate. So the doors of this gate are closed. This gate is not operational. So that means that this gate here in the outer court is north, and this gate here in the outer court is south. Those are operational. So what happens is it instructs the people, if you enter in the north gate, you exit out the south gate on the other side. So being that there's only 2 gates that are operational, there are 12 chambers, 6 in each gate, and 12 chairs. Now the next part of the slideshow, here you can see the early stages of the 3D model, and here we're just showing the same thing we showed you in the sundial video, the 30 chambers going around in the outer court and the gates. All right, now this here is what the gates look like. If we were to cut off the roof and look inside, this is the inner court, here is the altar, here is the temple. If we can see this, we're going to use this photograph here to then look at the details of the gates and why we're showing you the gates, why they look like the way they look. Now, many of you, of course, don't have the patience to do this type of work. You're just going to say, well, Leeland, whatever you say, it's okay with me. But it's very important that you understand what the scriptures say. First and foremost, this is basically our taking those scriptures and applying the puzzle pieces together to give you the most accurate information. But it's very important that you don't take anybody's word for anything. So this is basically giving the measurements of the gate, okay? And then we have other parts of it. I apologize. This device I'm on, my Chromebook, its pictures are very poor quality. So, okay, we're going to work off this photograph here, and we're going to go through Ezekiel chapter 40 and show you our measurements. Okay, what we attempt to do here is we're going to have the 3D model and the sketches on this portion of the screen. I know a lot of you guys are on phones, but maybe you can read this. I'm not sure, but basically we're going to be referring to Ezekiel chapter 40 in the gates. So he came to the gate, and this is the one showing Ezekiel the temple. He came to the gate and that looked toward the east, And he went up the stairs thereof, and he measured the threshold of the gate, which was 1 reed. Okay, so what he's doing is he's standing in the threshold, which is just here, and he's going up the stairs. Okay, so we're going to walk through and look at everything that it's talking about here in Ezekiel 40. Now let's go back to our other sketch and show you what that looks like, bird's eye view. Okay, so here is the porch of the gate. It has 2 pillars that you could see, which are palm trees. And what he says is the threshold of the gate is 1 reed. A reed is 6 cubits. So that's this area right here. In verse 7, every little chamber was 1 reed long and 1 reed broad, and between the little chambers was 5 cubits. So what he's talking about here is this area right here inside the gate. It is a reed, which is 6 cubits. Okay, perfect square. And then he says there's another place which is 5 cubits. That's right here. So he's taken us from the porch, threshold of the gate. We get the chambers. So all these areas here are the chambers. This is where the 12 thrones are. All right, and every little chamber is 5 cubits by the gate, and the porch within was 1 reed. Okay, and he measured the porch of the gate within 1 reed. Okay, so the porch of the gate, all right, within the porch of the gate is a threshold 1 reed or 6 cubits. That's this. Then he measured the porch of the gate 8 cubits, and the post thereof 2 cubits. Okay, so what that means is if we look here, you can see this says 8. And this is the distance from the gate to the post. That's what we were showing you before on the outside when we look at it. These posts are palm trees, and the thickness of the palm trees is 2 cubits. So that's what he's talking about with the post. They are posts. As we can see here, we have basically a palm tree superimposed over as posts of the porch of the gate. Okay, in verse 10, the little chambers of the gates, where on this side and that side were 3 on each side, 1, 2, 3. On the other side, 1, 2, 3. They were of 3 on this side, and they were of 1 measure, and the posts thereof. And he measured the breadth of the entry of the gate 10 cubits. Okay, so he measured the breadth of the entry of the gate. So that's the entry of the gate is here. It has a porch, which is here, and that was the 8 cubits. Leading to the post, which is 2 cubits. So the porch is 10 cubits. And the width, okay, of the entrance of the gate is 10 cubits. And the length, 13 cubits. Now what this is talking about is there's another distance, all right, here to here, and this is 13 cubits. So what happens is when you come in, this is the entry from the porch, but it widens, okay? It widens from 10 cubits here to 13. And the space before the little chambers was 1 cubit. Now the space before them is this here. It's like a partition. So what it does is when people come in, they must register. They must meet the apostles. Okay, and so when they do, there's a way of entering inside these partitions. A good view of this is if we go to the 3D model. Okay, so here in the 3D model, once we take off the roof and we remove one of the walls and we look inside, what you can see is this is a chamber, and then this is the partition that it's talking about. So one could enter, come up the stairs through the porch, enter, and that is this space here. So one cubit on this side and 6 cubits on that side. Okay, he measured the gate from the roof to the little chamber, and the roof and the breadth was 25 cubits, door against door. Now, this is the part that I want to take a moment and bring up our notes and explain to you the great mystery of verse 13. Now, here's a slide in the PDF file that explains how we determine the height. Okay? And he measured the gate from the roof of one little chamber to the roof of another. The breadth was 25 cubits, door against door. Now, what we believe is happening is he's saying he's measuring the point, okay, of the chamber, which is right here, and it is, and then he's measuring it to the roof. What we believe was he's saying is he's measuring it to the roof on the opposite side of the opposite chamber. Okay, so that's the chamber here. So this measurement, okay, just let's see. Okay, this is perfect. I got another nail. You see this entryway here at the bottom, and this height, the length of this is like the length of this screw. But instead of it going from the floor to the roof being 25 cubits, what we believe is it's going to the opposite roof over the other chamber. So that what is happening is the 25 cubits here is a diagonal measurement. Okay, so now it's going over here. This is giving us our height. Okay, so thus giving us a height. Now we have it at 20 cubits. If you want to be fussy, you can say, well, Leeland, it's more than 20 cubits, it's 21. That's okay. We're using 20 cubits because that's consistent. A floor throughout the temple complex is 10 cubits. So we're kind of going with 20 cubits as our height. And the reason for that is he measured from the roof of one little chamber to the roof of another little chamber, 25 cubits door against door. We believe that what that is a diagonal measurement from the floor of one chamber to the roof of the opposite one of a height of 25 cubits. Once that height of 25 cubits goes at an angle, it becomes less, so that the roof thus is here. Now you can see if our roof were 25 cubits, it would be here, but that goes down as the angle goes to the opposite side. So this is the reason for the height of our gates being 20 cubits. Now there's a reason we're taking all the time to explain this to you. Verse 14 says, he made also the post 80 cubits, even to the post of the court round about the gate. Now most people have the height of the gates as 80 cubits. What 80 is 60. That's correct, 60 cubits. 60 cubits is 120 feet. They make the mistake of applying height to this verse. You can see clearly this verse says he made also the posts, 80 cubits or 60 cubits unto the post of the court. So what this means is the posts are the palm trees, okay? And what it is, it's going to be 60 cubits from the post on one side of the gate unto the post of the opposite porch of the gate. So the distance between here, this post, okay, and the other one at the top, okay, is 60 cubits. That's what Ezekiel is talking about. It is not the height. Okay, the height is not 60 cubits. That's an incorrect measurement. That's a big part of why we're explaining all this, all right? So that is the mistake that they make in applying height. You can see it clearly doesn't say height there. Now, let's continue. And from the face of the gate of the entrance to the face of the porch was 50 cubits. Now, what this means is the face of the gate, from the face of the gate. So this is the face of the gate here, right? So this is the face of the gate. It's not the porch, it's the gate. And what he's saying is from the face of the gate onto the face of the porch on the opposite side, okay? So that's here. So this is the porch on the opposite side. So this length, of course, is 50 cubits, all right? And that's 50 cubits because obviously it's not factoring in the 10 cubits that are in this porch. It's basically just going from here to the porch on the opposite side, okay? Now there were narrow windows in the little chambers. Okay, now this was a little challenging for me to draw, so let's go to the 3D. Okay, now there were narrow windows. So here you can see narrow windows, okay? Now these narrow windows, if you look at the blog post, we'll see that these narrow windows are talking about the camel's eye, okay? The entrance of the kingdom of God is like the camel's eye. So this is another feature of the gate, of the narrow aspect of the gate. We'll explain that more in the blog. We'll have a blog on the gates that will come shortly after this video. But that's what we have on the outside. You'll notice they are narrow windows, but then they go wider on the inside. So on the inside, you can see that the windows become larger, and we have lattice work. Now, the information on the lattice work is in a different portion of Ezekiel. We'll have to get to that another time. And keep in mind, we'll have the link, okay, to the gates. This is not the whole temple complex, but this is the 3D animation, the 3D model that's just focusing on the gates as a project, okay, allowing us to show it to you, and then you can take your own time and go into the model and look at it yourself. Okay, so then what it says is they were narrow windows in the little chambers, okay, in the gate round about, likewise to the arches. Okay, so these are the arches, and I believe next Ezekiel is going to talk about the arches. And windows were round about, inward upon, okay, here he's talking about the arches. Upon each post were palm trees. So these are the posts here in white, okay, going up. We remove the posts here so you can see it. And on the post is palm trees. So here you see a post, and here you see a palm tree over it. And he brought me into the inward court, and there were chambers and a pavement round about with the 30 chambers. Okay, so that's the 30 chambers going around. And the pavement on the side of the gates was over the length of the gates was a lower pavement. Then he measured the breadth of the forefront of the lower gate unto the forefront of the outer court was 100 cubits eastward and northward. Now basically what that means is the porch from the outer court to the inner court gate is 100 cubits. That's what he's talking about there. And just to show that to you, that's from this, the surface of this gate right here, and this porch, to be precise, it's going to be 100 cubits to the porch of this gate here. Now, verse 21, it basically describes the chambers as well, were the same as the first gate. And then it says, the length thereof was 50 cubits, and the breadth was 25 cubits. Now, we showed you the 50 cubits before, and the 50 cubits was from the face of the gate to the porch on the opposite side. Now what we believe here is that the 25, this is the distance from the wall here on one side of the chamber unto the other side. So this distance here is 25 cubits. Now this is another important thing that we need to explain, is that if this is 25 cubits, we have the thickness here of a reed, and a reed is 6 cubits. Okay, so the thickness of the building wall structure going around is 6 cubits. So we have that thickness here on one side, and of course thickness on the other side. So this is 6 plus 6 is 12. 12 plus 25 is 37. So our overall width of the outside of the gate from one end to the other is 37 cubits, okay? So we just wanted to explain how the 25 cubits here factor in. In their windows and arches and palm trees of the measure of the gate that looked toward the east, they went up by 7 steps. So each gate, as you enter it, there's a certain number of steps. So on the outer court, it's 7 steps. That's what Ezekiel is describing here, okay? And then the inner court, it's 8 steps. The gate of the inner court over against the gate towards the north, toward the east, he measured from gate to gate 100 cubits. We had showed you that before. Now the next few verses, he talks about the south gate. And he repeats this in verse 28. And he brought me into the inner court by the south gate, and he measured the south gate according to these measures. So that means that the south gate on the outer court has the same measurements as the south gate of the inner court. And then he describes the same things, the little chambers, the posts, the arches, the measures, the windows, the 50 cubits, the 25 cubits, the arches round about, and it's basically the same information we had already discussed. And now it says here, this is the inner court, and the palm trees were on this post and that post, and the going up, it had 8 steps. So there's 8 steps going into the inner court area from the inner court gates. And then Ezekiel goes to the east gate and the inner court, and it gives us the same information. And once again, it says, in the going up, it had 8 steps to the east gate of the inner court. And he brought me to the north gate and measured according to the measures. And the north gate has a little bit more information. It does repeat the chambers and arches and windows and the length and breadth and the posts on this side and that side. It has 8 steps. And by the posts of the gates is where they wash the offerings. So there are chambers on the outside of the gate where they wash the offerings. And the porch of the gate had 2 tables on this side, 2 tables on that side. So let's look at that. So here we're looking at the north gate, and on the outside of the porch, here's the palm trees here, palm leaves. There are chambers. Here's one on one side, and here's one on the other. And they said these are the places of the washing of the offerings. And then there's tables, and these are the tables here. Now we're looking at the main temple complex view in SketchUp, and it's a better view in 3D of where you can see the chambers for the washing of the sacrifice and the tables. So it says there's 4 on this side, 4 on that side, and then there's 2 inside the porch. So this is the north gate of the inner court. And yes, these represent as well, like we saw the 12 thrones of the 12 apostles, the 12 tables of the 12 apostles. You who have overcome, you'll sit on 12 thrones judging the 12 tribes of children of Israel. And you also serve at the king's table. So these 12 stone tables are where they process the sacrifices. Yes, there's sacrifices in the millennial temple. Now, another portion of Ezekiel that we want to touch on regarding the gates is very important details about the gates in chapter 46, which you can see here. And he said, "Thus says the Lord God, of the gate of the inner court toward the east." So this is the inner court here, and the gate toward the east is this gate. The gate at the inner court that looks towards the east shall be shut 6 working days. So this gate is shut 6 working days, but on the Sabbath it shall be opened. So this gate opens on the Sabbath, okay? And it says it shall be opened in the new month, okay? If we really look at the word here, King James says moon, but it is Kodesh, and this word means month. So on the first of the month, essentially. Something went wrong checking for updates of this model, it says here. But basically the door of this gate is only open on Shabbat, and it's on the first day of each month. Okay, that's actually coming up in a few days, on the first day of the 8th month. Now I just want to point out, if you guys are unaware, that the information that we're uploading weekly is in the What's New section of the website. So just if you scroll down, you can see, look at What's New section for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Okay, and you can see that we're posting videos here, we're posting blogs, and we're posting songs. Okay, and so you can check this, okay, at these appointed times, and you can see when the videos are uploaded. This will also be a source of where you can get the clickable links to the model. So here's the temple model that we have posted with the 3D when we launched the 3D temple, and we'll have another link like this which will be assigned to a 3D model of just the gates. And so what you saw me present here, you can see that model.